Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down the absolute banger that is Chapter 91, Darts.
And Luffy has a plan. That's usually where things get interesting.
Interesting is one word for it. Unhinged is another. God tier is a third. We've seen Luffy come up with some wild strategies, but this is something else. This is the kind of chapter that if you're not already on board with this series, you should be. If you know someone who needs to understand what makes Luffy, Luffy, just send them a link to this show. Tell them this is the moment we all got it. This is the moment a goofy rubber boy becomes a terrifying force of nature, not through power, but through sheer, unfiltered audacity.
We open right where we left off. Arlong is furious that Luffy used one of the fishmen as a meat shield. A classic case of indignation from a man who has shown no honor himself.
And Luffy, brilliant as ever, just throws it right back in his face. He's like, you literally did the same thing. Don't get all high and mighty now. The sheer nerve of it is perfect. There's no complex argument, no debate. It's playground logic. You did it first. And because it's so simple, it's impossible for Arlong to refute. It completely deflates Arlong's posturing.
It also immediately establishes the dynamic of this fight. Arlong is trying to fight on the basis of ideology, of fishman superiority, and the perceived injustice done to him. Luffy is fighting on the basis of what is right in front of him. You hurt my friend, you're a bad guy, I'm gonna punch you. Arlong's hypocrisy means nothing to him beyond being a simple fact.
Exactly. He's cutting through all the superfluous nonsense. And while this is happening, you've got the best hype men in the East Blue working the crowd.
Johnny and Yosaku are on the sidelines, trying to build the tension. They keep saying, Straw Hat's got an idea. He said he's got a way to beat Arlong. It's a classic storytelling technique, building anticipation for the hero's secret weapon.
Even Sanji is wondering what it could be, and you feel it, right? You're reading this for the first time, you're thinking, okay, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna use the environment? Is he gonna pull out some new gum-gum move we haven't seen? Is he gonna use his rubber properties in a way to short-circuit Arlong's water-based attacks? The anticipation is real. Oda is dangling the carrot, and we are all leaning forward.
Arlong isn't waiting to find out. He lunges, snapping those teeth in his hands like castanets. That visual is so unsettling. It's not just a bite, it's a weapon he can wield and throw. The sound effect Oda uses, kachi-kachi, is so sharp and percussive. It's like a warning rattle.
But Luffy is just too quick. He's weaving, he's dodging, and then bam! A solid kick right to Arlong's jaw, and you hear that crack as another set of teeth just goes flying. It's so satisfying. It's the first real solid hit Luffy lands on him, and it's directly on Arlong's most iconic feature.
Arlong is more annoyed than hurt, though. He even smirks as a new set just grows right back. He tells Luffy it's useless, that he can do this all day. This is the monster movie trope. The hero lands a blow, and the monster just regenerates, revealing the true depth of the problem.
And this is it. This is the moment that separates One Piece from everything else. This is the moment that defines Luffy's entire approach to combat. He doesn't say a word. He just walks over, picks up the bloody, broken shark teeth off the ground,
and puts them in his own mouth.
He puts them in his own mouth. He gives this big, goofy, terrifying grin with Arlong's own teeth jutting out of his face. It is the single most disrespectful, unhinged, and absolutely genius thing I have ever seen.
I remember reading this for the first time and just closing the book, laughing for a solid minute. It's not a power-up, it's not a new technique, it's an act of psychological warfare so profound and so stupid that it could only come from Monkey D. Luffy.
It's a complete deconstruction of his opponent. Arlong's entire identity is predicated on the idea of biological superiority. My teeth are stronger, my skin is tougher, my muscles are more powerful. I am a shark, you are a monkey. He sees the world in this rigid racial hierarchy.
And Luffy just takes the literal symbol of that superiority, this thing Arlong is so proud of he can regrow it on command, and turns it into a cheap party gag. He's holding up a sign that says, "Look how dumb your whole ideology is. It's so dumb I can wear it like a novelty vampire costume."
Johnny and Yosaku are horrified. They're screaming that was his great idea. They, like the audience, were expecting a new ultimate attack, a brilliant strategy. They can't comprehend that the plan wasn't to inflict physical damage, but to inflict a deep spiritual insult.
Of course that was his idea. It's perfect. He's not trying to out-muscle Arlong, he's trying to out-Arlong him. He's taking the thing Arlong is most proud of, his teeth, his identity as a shark, and turning it into a cheap party gag. He's fighting on a level Arlong can't even comprehend. It's like trying to play chess with someone who just eats the pieces. You can't win.
It's pure psychological warfare. Arlong is so deeply insulted by this. You can see the fury in his eyes. The vein on his forehead is practically bursting. This human, this monkey, this lower life form is mocking the very core of his being. The thing that makes him better has been turned into a prop. And in that rage, he gets a little sloppy. He lunges and manages to bite Luffy on the shoulder. It's a small wound, but Arlong, he acts like he just got shot. He's rolling on the ground, clutching his jaw, going on about how tough Luffy's rubber skin is. So hard, it's like I bit into a rubber shoe.
It's pure melodrama. It's a performance. He's trying to regain control of the narrative. By exaggerating the pain of biting rubber, he's trying to frame Luffy as this unnatural, frustrating opponent, rather than an equal. He's trying to play the victim, to make it seem like this fight is so beneath him that even landing a blow is an inconvenience.
But Luffy's not having it. He's not buying the act for a second. Johnny and Yosaku are yelling at him to stop playing around, and Luffy shouts back that he's not playing. And you know he means it. We see that close-up on his face. This is his serious face, even with those ridiculous teeth in his mouth. That contrast is what makes it so powerful. He is 100% serious about this ridiculous, disrespectful strategy.
The fight continues. Luffy blocks another strike with a huge piece of rock, but Arlong's strength is just on another level. The impact shatters the rock and sends Luffy tumbling backwards. It's a reminder that for all the psychological games, Arlong still has an overwhelming physical advantage.
He doesn't even have time to recover. Arlong is on him and sinks a set of teeth deep into Luffy's side. It looks bad. You see the blood. Oda doesn't shy away from it. This isn't a cartoonish bite. It's a piercing wound.
But Luffy's response is immediate. It's instinctual. He doesn't scream. He doesn't pull away. He leans in.
He leans in and he bites Arlong's shoulder right back, using Arlong's own teeth to do it. It's payback in its purest form. You bite me, I bite you. It's the law of the jungle, and right now, Luffy is the king.
He leaves the teeth embedded in Arlong's flesh when they separate, a little trophy of the insult. It's such a powerful image. Arlong, a creature of bites and teeth, now has a set of his own teeth sticking out of his body, put there by his enemy. It's a physical manifestation of the insult from before.
And Luffy just laughs. He's bleeding from two different spots, but he's laughing because he did it. He hurt the big bad shark man with his own bite. It's such a pure Luffy moment. His victory condition isn't always about winning the fight. Sometimes it's just about proving a point in the most stubborn, defiant way possible. He proved he could hurt Arlong the same way Arlong hurt him.
Arlong, of course, is completely unfazed by the pain. He rips the teeth out of his own shoulder and just scoffs. He tells Luffy his jaws are too weak to do any real damage. It was an insult, not an injury. He has to frame it that way to maintain his sense of superiority.
And then Arlong says, "Let me show you what a real shark's jaw can do." And this is where the tone shifts. The whole chapter, the fun and games, the goofy teeth, the psychological warfare, it all just evaporates in an instant.
Yes, the comedy of the teeth moment is over. Arlong grabs Luffy's right arm, right at the elbow, and bites down. The paneling here is masterful. It's tight, it's brutal, and the sound effect, Gabu, is heavy and final.
And it's not a quick snap. He locks on. You can just feel the pressure, the sound of that jaw clamping down on bone and rubber. This isn't like the earlier bites. This is an execution. It's brutal. My stomach dropped when I first saw this panel. This is where you realize, oh, Luffy could actually lose. He could be permanently maimed.
Genzo, watching from the sidelines, says it all. If Luffy had been trapped for even one more second, his arm would have been gone. Not broken, gone, severed completely. This is the moment the true gap in their species' abilities is shown. Luffy's bite was a joke. Arlong's bite is a dismemberment.
That's the difference in power we're seeing. It's a terrifying clarification of the stakes. This reminds me of Shanks, honestly. The sea, a powerful fish-like creature, and the potential loss of an arm. Oda's echoing that imagery here to tell us that the danger is just as real. Luffy's plot armor feels very thin in this moment.
But this is where Luffy's instincts shine. It's not about conscious thought, it's about survival. He can't pry the jaw open, he can't punch his way out, his normal solutions are useless. So, he uses Arlong's own momentum and his own rubbery body to do the one thing Arlong doesn't expect.
He throws him, a full-body throw that slams Arlong into the stone ground so hard it stuns him for just a second. He used his entrapped arm as the pivot point. It's genius. He turned the bite, the weapon being used against him, into the fulcrum of his own counterattack.
And that 1 second is all he needs. The jolt from the impact loosens the jaw and Luffy rips his arm free. The visual of his arm snapping back into place, still bleeding, is incredible.
They both just collapse. Both of them are on the ground, motionless. The whole battlefield goes quiet. Johnny and Yosaku are silent. Sanji is watching, tense. That was way too close. That was a brush with a permanent, life-altering injury.
It establishes the stakes perfectly. Arlong has a move that can end this fight, and Luffy's durability has a clear and terrifying limit against it. His rubbery nature, which usually makes him immune to blunt force, is a liability against piercing and crushing power of this magnitude.
Arlong gets up first, and he's bleeding from his head where he hit the ground. He actually touches the blood, almost surprised. He says that throw was enough to draw blood. He's acknowledging Luffy's strength, maybe for the first time, not as an equal, but as a surprisingly resilient pest.
Meanwhile, Luffy is pulling the shark teeth out of his own side. He's clearly in pain, but he gets back to his feet. There's no complaining, no melodrama like Arlong. He just deals with the injury and gets ready for the next round. The contrast in their character is on full display.
But when he looks up, Arlong's gone, vanished. The silence is almost worse than the fighting. Where did he go? The battlefield is an open courtyard. There's nowhere to hide.
Usopp knows. He's screaming from somewhere, "Luffy, he's in the water!" And your heart just sinks. Oh no, don't go in the water. That's the one place he can't go.
And then we see it. A single fin cutting through the surface of the pool in the middle of Arlong Park. It's a classic primal image of fear. It's Jaws. Oda is tapping into this universal symbol of an unseen underwater predator.
And Luffy, in a perfect moment of levity after that intense scene, just goes, "A shark?" He thinks a random shark just appeared in the pool. He's bleeding, he almost lost an arm, and his first thought is just mild curiosity about some new wildlife. Never change, Luffy. Never, ever change.
Usopp has to clarify that it's Arlong. And then Arlong speaks from beneath the surface, his voice bubbling up from the depths. He says no one can compare to his speed underwater. This is his domain. The battlefield has now shifted entirely to his favor.
And then he just explodes out of the water. It's not a jump. He's a torpedo, a living missile aimed right at Luffy's heart. The name of the chapter is Darts, and this is why. Shark on darts. He turns his entire body, his superior fishman hydrodynamics, into a projectile weapon.
It's an incredible display of power. The speed is overwhelming. On land, Luffy had a speed advantage. In the water, Arlong is in a completely different dimension of movement. He's moving so fast, the water is still exploding upwards behind him as he makes contact with the land.
Luffy just barely, and I mean by a millimeter, manages to dodge a fatal blow. But the force of the impact still catches him, sending him spinning through the air like a top. He didn't even see it coming. He just reacted. Pure instinct.
Arlong doesn't stop.
He crashes straight through the wall of Arlong Park Tower, leaving a massive hole, and lands on his feet completely unharmed. The sheer destructive power is immense. He's using his own body as a cannonball.
He's actually surprised Luffy could dodge him at all. He acknowledges Luffy's reflexes, but says it's just delaying the inevitable. And he's right back in the water. He just slides back in, reloads, and prepares to fire again.
This is the core of the fishman advantage. In the water, they're in a completely different class. It's the great equalizer against even a devil fruit user as strong as Luffy. It's a tactical nightmare. How do you fight an enemy you can't see, who can attack from any angle with unstoppable speed and power, and then instantly retreat to an area you cannot enter?
He does it again, launches out of the water. This time Luffy dodges clean, and Arlong's long, hard nose spears right into the stone ground. It embeds itself like a javelin.
And it gets stuck for just a moment. Sanji is just staring, completely shocked at how strong Arlong's nose has to be to do that and not shatter. It recontextualizes his design. That saw nose isn't just for show. It's a biological weapon as durable as steel.
Arlong just rips it out of the ground like it's nothing. No damage at all. It's as much a weapon as his teeth are. He goes back in the water. He does the attack twice more, grazing Luffy both times. He's just toying with him now, wearing him down, chipping away at his stamina and his will.
It's a terrifying strategy. Luffy can't attack him. He can only dodge. And he can't dodge forever. Every dodge takes energy. Every graze causes damage. The battlefield has completely shifted in Arlong's favor. It feels hopeless.
Johnny, Yosaku, even Sanji are screaming at him. Get away from the water! Run, bro! They know he can't win like this. It's a losing game. It's a war of attrition that Luffy is guaranteed to lose. Lure him away, get him on solid ground. It's the only logical move.
And Luffy's just standing there, panting, bleeding. He's taken a beating. You can see the exhaustion on his face. He's at his limit. But he doesn't run. He does the opposite. He walks right up to the edge of the pool. He stands there, looking down at the water where this monster is circling. It looks like a surrender. It looks like he's giving up.
Everyone is telling him it's suicide. From a tactical standpoint, they are absolutely correct. He is standing in the kill zone.
And Luffy just gets this look on his face, this grim, determined smile. He looks down at that fin in the water and makes a declaration. He says he's not running. He says he's going to catch him.
And then he gives the win condition. He says, I'm gonna break your nose.
Super. That's it. That's the moment. It's not about surviving anymore. It's not about defense. He looked at Arlong's ultimate weapon, the source of his unstoppable attack, the very thing that defines him, and promised to shatter it. That's our captain. He finds the one thing his opponent treasures most, the symbol of their strength, and he promises to destroy it. That's our captain.
It's a direct challenge to Arlong's pride. More than his teeth, that saw nose is his symbol. It's the central image on the Arlong Pirates' Jolly Roger. It's the gate to Arlong Park. By declaring he'll break it, Luffy is declaring he will break Arlong's spirit, his ideology, everything he stands for. He's not just trying to win the fight, he's trying to dismantle the tyrant.
He's not just fighting for himself or his crew anymore. He's fighting for Nami. He's fighting to tear down the symbol of her oppression. This whole park, this whole empire, it's all built on the foundation of that nose, on the power and terror it represents. And Luffy just promised to bring it all down. What a chapter. What a perfect ending.
It really is. It had the classic Oda mix of absolute absurdity with the teeth and then a sudden sharp turn into life or death stakes. Also, Oda's author comment this week was about Playmobil pirate toys.
Of course it was. That explains the teeth gag. The man's mind is just a beautiful, chaotic place full of toys and world-shattering stakes. He's thinking about how you can swap accessories on little plastic figures, and that sparks the idea for one of the most disrespectful moments in manga history.
I think that captures the tone of the chapter perfectly. A childlike idea executed with brutal consequences. Luffy is that child, bringing a playground mentality to a death match, and somehow it's working.
Absolutely. And that promise at the end, that's the kind of moment that makes you want to talk about this stuff for hours. If you've got a thought on Luffy's declaration or a favorite moment from this insane chapter, drop it in the comments. We read every single one.
So with that promise hanging in the air, where do we go from here? Predictions for chapter 92.
Okay, I've got two. First, Luffy's going to use the environment, but not how we think. He can't get Arlong out of the water, so he's going to get the water away from Arlong. I predict he's going to find a way to destroy that pool, drain it, smash it, whatever it takes to level the playing field. It plays perfectly into his destructive, problem-solving mindset. Obstacle in the way? Break it.
Removing the enemy's advantage. That's smart. What's your second?
My second is that Sanji's going to do something. He's been watching this whole time, analyzing. He's the strategist. We saw him use his wits against Kurobi, understanding the gills were a weakness. I think he's going to see an opportunity, maybe create a diversion or even find a way to trap Arlong on the surface that gives Luffy the opening he needs. Sanji doesn't just stand by when his captain is in trouble, especially when it's a fight this critical for Nami.
I could see that. My turn. My first prediction is that we're about to see a brand new gum-gum technique. This is the pattern. When Luffy is pushed past his limits, when pistol and bazooka aren't enough, he invents something on the fly. Shark on darts is too fast to just dodge. He needs a move that can counter it or catch it. He promised to catch him. Maybe something like a gum-gum net or gum-gum cage, using his fingers to create a trap.
Ooh, a new move. I like that. A bespoke technique designed specifically to counter the shark on darts. That feels very Luffy. What's your other one?
My second prediction ties into yours about the environment. I believe the final blow of this fight will involve the Arlong Park Tower itself. That building is the symbol of Nami's 10 years of suffering. It's where she was forced to draw maps for her mother's killer. We've already seen Arlong crash through it once. For this fight to be truly cathartic, for Nami's freedom to be absolute, that tower has to fall. It's a monument to her pain, and it must be torn down. And I think Luffy's going to be the one to bring it down, with Arlong inside it, a final symbolic destruction of her prison.
Super! Bringing the whole house down on top of him. I love it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. This has been Inherited Dawn. Join us next time as we see if Luffy makes good on his promise in Chapter 92.
Until then, keep sailing.